Okay, so welcome back again, guys, and in this video I'm going to explain to you the timing of this 654 engine. Now, the reason that we're doing this video, you've probably seen a lot of our videos and you're probably going to say, why are you doing the same video again? Now, we get a lot of people, a lot of technicians ringing us up saying, yeah, we've done the same job, or I'll get customers ringing up saying, yeah, I've done the same job elsewhere and it shows this fault, engine light is on, this, that. The importance of this job is the timing. I'm going to show you all the timing marks and what to look out for when doing this job. Now, down here on the crank pulley, as you can see, the OT mark, it's got to line up slightly, ever so slightly, to the right of that mark there on the engine block. You see, ever so slightly. And at the back here, you can see the marks on the camshaft housing line up with the line there and with the line there. You've got to make all of them line up. Now, what I tend to do is, before I take off the rocker cover, because the engine's hot, I wait for the rocker cover to cool down. Until it cools down, I turn the crankshaft from the pulley, check the mark there, and if you come here, you can see the spot on the camshaft. You can see, once you take out the camshaft sensor, you'll be able to see this. I see that it's lined up, so it makes my job easier, time efficient, after I take off the rocker cover gasket, rocker cover. Now, once everything is lined up, you need to lock these gears. These are spring loaded, and this is how you do it. Okay, now once these gear wheels are locked, we need to remove 4 of these bolts here and 4 of these bolts here. Once we remove those bolts, you need the timing lock tool, which is, it's a laser part, as you can see, for the 654 engine. Now, once you take off those 4 bolts, you need to use these 2 locking tools. Where we take off the 4 bolts from, just put around it, and the longer bolts, you tighten it up to the camshaft housing. Now, we're going to show that once we remove the bolts and put it into place. And after you put these into place, you need to release the gear wheels. At the back, they're held by Torx. Well, look at it carefully. Yeah. Need to release those as well. Makes it easier putting on the camshaft housing, taking it off, and the rotations are, or the threads are opposite threads, so watch out for that one. That one, the exhaust side is normal thread, the intake side is the other side. So to release it, you need to turn it towards the right, and opposite when putting on. So to tighten it, you've got to turn it towards the left. Put the locking tools into place. These only go in one way, so that's for the intake side. And when you put onto the exhaust side, as you can see, it doesn't sit. So intake side lines up, exhaust side lines up as well. Once they sit correctly, you can tell that the timing's in place. And you just put the longer bolts. Usually these longer bolts that we're putting in, they're on this side. So yeah, we're just gonna tighten these up and then release the gear wheels. You got to use this spanner here, E14 Torx, and we've already released it because it's a 2-man job to release these. We're just going to show you how we just, as you can see, that's the opposite thread. Just release it ever so slightly that you can turn it around with your fingers. You don't need to take the bolt out. This process just makes it easier for us when we're taking off the camshaft housing and putting it on, as if you don't release those, when you put on the camshaft housing, it's very common for the bottom crank timing to be out, which can, and then people, they just check it before they put it on. see that it's lined up, try put this on, and the timing goes out as the gears are turning there, which affects the crankshaft as well. So that's why we release these bolts. Always double check when when you're doing the timing. So once you've put everything together, turn it around, take off the locks, put it back on again. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead, take off the camshaft housing, replace the worn down rockers and close it back up. And we'll show you the routine when closing it back up. We'll show you the worn down rockers as we've taken it off. That's one here, another one here, one here. And some of these other ones, they look like they're on their way out as well. It's mostly the exhaust side, always the exhaust side actually. So we're just gonna go ahead and replace these and close it back up. Okay, as you can see, we've cleaned up the surface, replaced the rocker arms and our hydraulic tappets. As I've mentioned in the previous videos, make sure you watch out for this rubber O-ring, make sure you replace it. Here we have the old rocker arms, hydraulic lifters, and here we've cleaned up our camshaft housing unit, replaced this gasket. It's underneath the camshaft carrier. Now we're just gonna check the crankshaft timing mark and put it back together. Okay, so we've put everything back together. The camshaft gear wheels are tightened up, but couldn't record that as it's a two-man job. Got to tighten it 50 Newton meters and then 90 degrees, whereas the camshaft carrier bolts are 6 Newton meters and 90 degrees. But we've taken out the locks. As you can see, the bolts are not in place, so we spun the engine to see if everything lines up again. Now we're just going to put the locks back in. That's the exhaust side, lines up perfectly, and the intake side, so we can tell that our timing is good. And also we've checked the mark on the crankshaft pulley. As you can see, the OT mark is there. So now we're just gonna put the rocker cover gasket on. Rocker cover with the replace the gaskets on the rocker cover. We're just gonna put the rocker cover on and close it back up. Okay, so we've finished everything, replaced the oil and oil filter, put everything back together. And when tightening the rocker cover bolts, because they're aluminium, be careful. Just make sure that you can tighten it by one hand and you feel that it's tight, rather than just hanging on to it, because they are common to break. Now we've finished everything. We're just going to start it up. It could take a bit long to start up as the injectors are out, we're out and everything. And as you can see, the vehicle's started up, running nicely, none of that knocking noise anymore. Now we're just going to have it running for 5-10 minutes, lift the car up, check underneath, make sure there's no leaks or anything. Once there's no leaks or anything confirmed, we will close it up for on a road test before we hand it over to our customer. Thanks for watching. Please make sure that you like, comment and subscribe.